Good evening, everybody, and happy Easter Eve. I We had a busy day, me and Hannah Grace. We did a lot together. Um, she's definitely wore out. She didn't even want to go to Sunset. She was so wore out. But I had to go to the chiropractor today. Um, After I saw my acupuncturist earlier this week, I knew um, I needed to see the chiropractor because my neck was getting all jacked up again and I could barely move it again. So of course, since my health you know, is like this right now. I don't know from minute to minute what it's gonna do next. I take my service dog, Hannah Grace, with me. So she got to go to the chiropractor. And I am here to tell you, she is a trip. I took her to the other doctor that I went to for a chiropractor, and she also did massage. She did all kinds, the sacrocrinial. She did all that stuff. Um, and she did pretty good there. But for some reason here, because I guess maybe the first one was a woman, and this one is a man. I don't know if that made her more protective of me or what. But every time he got like ready to, she stuck her head up in between, or stuck her body between me and him, like a she was. He goes, "Will you get your big head out of here? I'm trying to help your mother get better." It was so freaking best visit ever to a doctor's office, and especially to a chiropractor because it is extremely painful for me. But he's so funny and he's so entertaining. He goes, "Why don't you sit in that chair right there and let me check out your neck?" He goes, "Oh, I see those Frankenstein." I don't. He calls them like Frankenstein knobs or something. He goes, and as soon as he pushed on them, it hurt so bad. It's a wonder I didn't end up on the ceiling. That's how bad it hurt. It's amazing you can have something on your body that has that much pain and you don't realize it has that much pain until somebody else touches it. Holy. And apparently I had it on both sides. So after he hooks me up to a TENS unit, he puts a heating pad on my whole back while the TENS unit is wearing my muscles down. And then he uses this giant vibrating massage thing that's like this big square thing. And I'm going to tell you, holy Moses, after he did all that and then he cracked all over and he opened me up a lot in different places. When he put me back in the chair to check my Frankenstein nodules on the sides of each, he pushed on my neck. It didn't hurt anymore. I was like, oh, thank the Lord. I'm like, I'm not ready for this because it's extremely painful for him to for me too. When he gets at me like really soft, and then it's almost I see stars. So Hannah Grace and I went to the market after that to pick up a few supplies and to visit and wish everybody happy Easter. And and then we came back, and she took a break, and I planned my first um, event for the resort for Easter. So I was working on stuff for that. Um, I'm super excited. Um, and then I had to run to storage to get clothes for tomorrow because I was invited to go to church with my missionaries. I had four of them that came to visit me this past week, two from Key West, because I keep getting new pairs from Key West and then 2 from Marathon. I could almost walk to church if I was healthy enough. It's not that far from here at all. It's it's not far at all. So thank the Lord for that as well. So they invited me to Easter Sunday. So I'm gonna go with them to that, and then come back here for a meal with whoever wants to participate, including the staff. It's for the staff. The original purpose for it's for the staff, and then it's for everybody. So I cannot wait. I'm super excited, and then when I got back, of course I took her with. We went to storage. She went with me to storage. She's my service dog. She can go everywhere with me. So I held on to her and took her into storage, and she was a good girl. And then when I got back here, I must have left both my keys inside the room. I got 2 because I could keep one in my purse and one and take one with me periodically. Well, apparently I took one out of my purse too. So when we walked up, Hannah has gotten to know this tiny little dog. I call him Deputy Dog, and his name is it Mikey? Mickey. Mickey is his name. Oh my gosh, he's a little boy. And him and her played. Oh my gosh, it was the sweetest thing I have ever witnessed. And this one is out. So, what a great day. And it's it's kind of crazy how your day flows and what pops into your head, etc. So my ministers had called me when I was taking a nap. I was invited to go boating, and I got back here about 11ish, I think, something around that time. And there was no way I could go boating. I couldn't even meet him at the beach to go boating, because that much stimulation in a very small period of time, it completely wore me out. Completely. It was all I could do after I took a nap, which was several hours, to go to storage. And when I woke up, because I had slept so solid, I was so confused on what day it was. I was like, oh my gosh, did I miss Easter? What day is it? Is it still? Oh my gosh, thank the Lord, it's still Saturday. I mean, that's how exhausted I was earlier. So I was talking, so the Latter-day Saints had called me, the missionaries, the elders, they had called and they said, when you get a chance, give us a call. So I guess I just missed their call by a few minutes, but I had forgotten I had turned my phone on silence when I was at the chiropractor's office. So I'm so thrilled I did, because I would have been woken up. And I try not to set alarms because I don't need the stress. Everything that puts me on a time, it's just more stress my body doesn't need. I mean, being a tax collector for 18 and a half years and working 7 days a week and actually missing Easters, I couldn't even tell you how many years. Lots. The Easters that I made were after tax season, after April 15th, or way before April 15th. So, for instance, this year, since April 15th was Friday, they've got till the 18th to file. If I were still in my profession, I would have been working tomorrow. The old Natalie. Now the new Natalie, absolutely not. No way. No. No way. That was wrong of me to ever have done that. But I had to work, because that's how man designed it all. If you want, you got to work your tail end off to get it. It is what it is. So I was talking to them and asking them about laminin, if they had heard of that. And I told him the story about Pastor Buck coming over to my house when I was drawing all those sketches, and I couldn't get it out of my head. And I think I'm trying to think. Let me see if I have the actual date of the. Um, oh, I don't. It doesn't have the date on here, but it was in 2021, and it was really it was a Sunday, and I wasn't well enough to drive to church, so I felt the need to pick one of the services I was going to watch, and then I was listening to Christian music, and I just kept drawing this cross. To me, it was a cross. And I kept feeling water. I kept feeling that it was a person. There was just so much life to it, but it just wasn't complete in my eyes. So, and I just kept expanding my basic idea, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, I sent a picture of it to Pastor Buck at Grace Lutheran, and I told him that I couldn't even explain it, but I just kept drawing this. And at one point, when I kept feeling the water, when you're a kid and you draw water like whoop, 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 just the basic water. Well, that's what I was doing. Well, I was sitting outside, I had the Christian music going, and it's just, I feel like I'm in the most peace, calm environment I could possibly be in. And all of a sudden, my little whoop, whoop, whoops start looking like handwriting. And I'm mindful of it. I'm actually seeing my hand writing this, and I'm like, where is this coming from? Kid you not. I can't make it up. So I just kept going with it. And every time I'd start to do that, well, not every time, but multiple times, and it happened over and over. Even there's even some areas of it where um, it had words. And I'm going to pause because I do have a pause feature, and I'm going to go get it. The earlier when I got up and did that, I forgot that this new computer has a pause feature. My old computer did not. So hold that thought. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I've got my artwork. So I started off with this. It was just a basic drawing. So then Pastor Buck comes over and tells me it's this laminin, and I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know what he was talking about. I looked at him like I was like, what on earth are you talking about? So when he showed me, I went, holy crap. I've been drawing this for a while now, and I didn't understand it. Um, so I kept drawing it. So then after I got to, I started expanding it, and here, I started drawing the little whoop, whoop, whoop with water, but then all of a sudden, my handwriting changed. And I was mindful of it, but it didn't make sense. I'm like, what on earth what is this? That's not my little whoop, whoop, whoop. And it just kept happening. And then it got bigger and loopier. And I'd start off the same with my little, and then I would turn into that. I wasn't drinking, wasn't stoned, I wasn't nothing. Same thing here. So see, I started off doing my water, just normal, and then It felt like I was writing. It felt like I was writing like a letter. That's how it felt. It felt like I was dotting I's, crossing T's kind of thing but it wasn't normal. It wasn't normal writing. So I don't know. I don't know. Even though that's the only way um, that I can describe it. And here's more. And this one of them, I swear said surrender. But here's another one. And it just kept, I'd start off a certain way, but then because it was so, I mean, and these were all like one right after the other. And it got bigger and bigger. Like whatever energy was near me or influencing my artwork was getting bigger. So to think that it started like this and then ended up like this, to me was like, what in the heck? I don't understand. And it just kept going on. And then it went back to normal. And then it was just like nothing. So it's really interesting to think that I've been drawing these for a while now. Heck, I was putting them I was using bird seed and doing them in my driveway, doing this symbol is what I'm calling it, a symbol. Um, so I was doing it and putting my nat 333 in it with there's always 9 of these they're hearts or they're V's for victory or birds or whatever you want them to be. But all this artwork is what I did. And I kept doing it. There's actually a date in here somewhere that says January, but to think that I went from that to something like this is unbelievable. So I started with the basic, oops, that's not the basic one, that's not the beginning one. So I start with this, and it's evolved to this, something like this. Same with, and it just kept going on, and I just kept, so I know that if you think about it, with the whole release of if you've heard about the snake venom being in the water, and it's about the proteins. Was that this doctor that was staying up all night, like me, was getting messages from him, like me. I actually reached out to the doctor that discovered that, what was it, the king cobra and the crate, Krait, Chinese snake, the Chinese crate snake. He couldn't let it go. Well, I couldn't with these either. I couldn't tell you how many hours I was drawing this, and I couldn't stop. It was like my job, and that's what I was supposed to do. under his guidance. And and finally I would do it so much that I'd get exhausted and I'd have to stop. So that's how he works. So here's this doctor. He's getting these messages that are keeping him up all night to to draw him to researching it further. And in the meantime, I'd been drawing these. So I did reach out to that doctor. I haven't heard anything back yet. Hello? Huh? Hang on, somebody's at the door. Hang on. So one of the guys here made me dinner. It is chicken breast, steak, potatoes, shrimp, and corn. This is enough to feed me for, I couldn't even tell you how many days. This is so much food. I'm like, yeah, I eat like very small. Well, about this size portion, very small. This size maybe? Yeah, probably. So, but wow, he outdid himself. So hang on, hold that thought. I just had to share. Okay, well, that was a super great surprise. My mouth is on fire. Ate a little bit of the steak, tasted the chicken, um, ate some corn and a potato. Oh my gosh, delicious. I didn't eat much for dinner anyway. I only ate like, I had a small little amount of pasta salad left that I'd made like earlier this week. And I had a quarter of an Italian sub. And it was only this big because the half of the sub was like this much. So I only had half of it last night and half of it tonight. So I could eat a little bit more and I wasn't overeating. So what a nice surprise. He's like me, likes to pay everything forward. And the girls just love his little dog, Mickey. I call it Deputy Dog. So good thing I got my thank you cards here. Not sure if I want to use the thank you one or the Tree of Life. He'll help me with that tomorrow, I'm sure, or tonight, later. So anyway, getting back to the laminin. So I start thinking about when I see this doctor talking about the snake venom and the protein um, portion of it. And then I start thinking about when I was in the hospital in Fort Wayne for those 15 days. I can't even tell you how many times I called them to say, you know, hey, is it this? Is it that? Is it this? Is it that? So something that I've been wanting to do, which I'm going to be doing now, is getting all my blood work and getting it all in a spreadsheet and dropping it down. And I want to see where my numbers are and where they coincide with this whole thing with the laminin, with the snake venom being in our water supply. It's going to be really interesting, but I'm hopeful that doctor reaches out to me because I really strongly feel that him and I need to connect. I need to help him with his research because I have got information I think that's going to be helpful. My medical records are going to help a ton because I've got blood work across the board from multiple stages in these last 2 years. So I've been wanting to get updated blood work because I haven't done that. I haven't had blood work now. I think it's been about a year, if I remember correctly. Oh, it's been over a year. So I am I'm really anxious to see where my numbers are. But what was so interesting is earlier today, um, before I took a nap, I started expanding on the whole looking into my medical records. And what was really odd is when I went to the website, there was a lot of results never seen before. Of course, they all had the dates of back in February of 2020 when I was in the hospital, but I never saw them. And I know there was lab work that was going to come out after I was gone from the hospital, but there's some numbers in my blood work that are off the charts. And just the little bit of research that I've done looking at those numbers and those levels and what they affect is unreal. And then when you think about, I just recently, just getting this knowledge this week about the snake venom, I started really looking into um, snakes, and I'm gonna see if I've got. Yeah, it says neurotoxic venom tends to act more quickly, attacking the nervous system and stopping nerve signals getting through to the muscles. This means paralysis starting at the head, moving down the body until if untreated, the diaphragm is paralyzed and the patient can't breathe. Well, my breathing was at 50%. I had to have surgery in October of 2020 to open up my airways. Hence, that's why I have one of these to keep track of my oxygen. Because when I had the surgery done, the doctor told me that I may have to have it done again. I said, what do you mean? Why would I have to have it done again if you've done it once? Why would I have to have the surgery again if you've taken care of it? Oh, well, some people just have to have it over and over again. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not okay with that. So I wanted one of these to keep track of my oxygen level. And the lowest I've seen it on here is 88. That's the lowest. And it didn't stay there. It shot right back up into the high 90s. So I'm going to be it's going to be really interesting to get all my blood work on a spreadsheet, all the numbers. I want to get all that done because I know I just have this feeling I'm gonna meet with this doctor. Um, I just think the two of us together um, could really fill in a lot of blanks for people. Um, because when I was the night before I was released to the hospital, I know I had a stroke. They told me I did not have a stroke, but I'm telling you, my whole right side was impaired. My tongue literally felt like it was in half. It felt like a rope going down the center of it, separating the right side of my body from the left side of my body. My hands tingled, my right leg, everything on my right side was impaired. Well, let's talk about the venom because that's something else that they talked about. Um, oh, I didn't click it, but if it's gonna start from your head and work its way all the way down, and my blood clots were in my brain, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It's not a coincidence. I'm not surprised. Nothing surprises me about what man will do to others. They will stop at nothing. to just start killing us off left and right. And I'm sorry to say that, but I'm being brutally honest. And there's nothing about honest that's brutal. But that's what man does. Man has caused us to think with a negative, with a positive constantly. And to retrain the brain that you don't think that way is going to take some time. It doesn't happen overnight because there's certain things that I'm catching and I'm like, well, no, I'm not doing that. As I've gone along through my journey these last 2 years of being sick, and my spiritual journey has been the strongest. And that's what's given me I swear, the most information is, my devotions trigger something in my brain. My Bible study triggers something in my brain. The Book of Mormon triggers something in my brain, and they all go together. They're all feeding off of each other and fruiting. That the fruit that is coming out of every single one of them is flourishing in my book, because they all complement each other. It's almost as if they called each other to do these devotions. So they all went as time is going on. That's all I can figure, because my missionaries from the Latter-day Saints, Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, they gave me that Book of Mormon sometime last year. And this last pair, they've all asked me to read it. And I dabbled, I kind of like with them, I'd read whatever. But I never really sat down and read it. And I don't know the Book of Mormon. I'm learning it as I read it. So it's been very rewarding, very eye-opening to read the instructions that are coming out of it to the humans of the world about to turn from their wicked ways, which I keep saying. And that brought it home when I started reading it. It's an extension of what Jesus said. It's unreal. It's just unreal. So, but it can't be, because it came from him. So to get this gift of food, he's from Louisiana, or that area. His name is Mike. Mike, I think they call him Mike L, because there must be more than one Mike here. I don't know. I'm so bad with names. I feel terrible. Ricardo, I call him Ricky Ricardo until I finally hit Ricardo, and now I know he's Ricardo. But he says, everything you've done here, helping us all out. I told you I want to make you a meal. I was like overwhelmed with what he brought me. And he said, I'd just like to pay it forward. I said, that's what I do too. Ta-da. He said, this place is not like any other place. I said, exactly. That's what I keep telling everybody. It is a diamond in the rough. And I love that about it. I have been to expensive resorts and 5-star hotels and some of the finer things in life. And I'm going to tell you, hands down, none of that holds a candle to this place. I adore it here. It's so laid back. It's so down to earth. Their staff is loving and kind and helpful, and it's just exactly where I need it to be. So before, when I was at La Casa, alone with the girls, struggling with my health, constant, I was worrying at first when I first got here because what if something happens and I can't drive myself? Well, I guess call 911, which one time, February of 2020, I did have to call 911 down here, but not since. So if you completely surrender to Him, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. So why not surrender and see what happens in your life? What do you got to lose? Some of your time. He'll thank you for it. I promise you that. Especially since Easter's tomorrow. Just a thought. And maybe you're watching this on Easter or after Easter. I don't know. But think about your surrender. Think about, are you sacrificing like Jesus did in His life to help others? Selling the Mustang was a godsend because man made everything about money. So I have money to take care of this housing. And I don't worry about anything else. Because here is a place of peace for me, more so than La Casa. And there's no doubt He led me here. He led me here. So let Him lead you. And listen, and don't try to force anything to happen. Let it happen on His time, not man's time. It's very important that you do that. Because I can't imagine where I would be right now if I would have committed to voting this afternoon, when I was already feeling tired. I can't force myself to do anymore. I can't do it. My body will not function with it. Had I done that, I would have been in worse shape and I would have been down even longer. That's what happens when I push myself too far. Or if I can feel that I'm starting to decline, that doesn't mean I need to go drink some caffeine. Or for other people, what they do is drink a Monster or a Rockstar or something that's so horrifically bad for you. They put that in a punch one time in Indiana, and I was deathly sick for days after it. It made me so sick. So purified water is the way to go. Or boil it all. If you're going to drink it, boil the HE double toothpicks right out of it. And that's a phrase from Father Ted. He told me that story. He said, I had people asking me, how do I get holy water? He says, I just put it on a pot of, in his words, he goes, I just put it on in a pot on the stove and boil the hell right out of it. I said, exactly, that's what you have to do. If we got snake venom in our water supply, we might as well burn the hell right out of it now, right? For Father Ted. So it's really interesting because I was talking to my missionaries earlier today, and I was explaining to them about my Easter last year and about a friend that I was reunited with that came, and she had a darkness attached to her. My bed felt like I had worms in it. And they left after they were at my house for 3 days. It's funny. 3 days was all anyone could stay at my house if they didn't follow him. Because all my Jesus suffocated the enemy. Gotta love that. And you know what? Never bothered me a bit. Those people that decided to flee early, that was all on them, not on me. All I did is shower my house with Jesus. I couldn't think of a better person to shower my house with. And I had water, purified water, because Harley was having issues for a while walking around. So I had water dishes all over, and she would, when I was supposed to keep myself hydrated, which I can tell I need some more water now because my fingers look like they're pruny, so that means I need water because I'm getting dehydrated. I've never liked going to the doctor. Anybody that knows Natalie knows, not my thing. He's my doctor. But Dr. Herman and Dr. Gorbatov, my dentist, my tooth genie, I do have them. Holistic. Plus my yap that was having serious issues. Well, it still does because it's missing 9 teeth right now, 333. And what's crazy is a year ago today, I had the first 4 extracted. As on my medical seeking trip, the last group of doctors were in Davie, Florida and Hollywood, Florida. And they're the ones where I got the care that I needed. The Indiana doctors, as far as I'm concerned, were my band-aids. Now, Dr. Peachin, he was the ringleader. He was trying to get me help. He tried everything he could. But I wasn't a normal case. I've never been normal. There's nothing about Natalie that is normal. And that's what's so great about each and every one of us. We are all unique because he made us that way. So why do you want to look like that person? I don't. I don't want to look anything like that person. I've never been one to follow a crowd. I've never been one with fad clothing. I buy clothes because I like them or I just don't buy them at all. I've just always been my own everything. What I like, what I don't like, but I always did it with truth, honor, and integrity, because that's what he taught us. And with a big heart. I've always given my heart to everyone. So, I don't know. While you think about your life, are you happy with where you are right now, spiritually? Do you feel fulfilled? Do you feel at rest and at peace with your life? If today was your last day on earth, would you be okay with your life as it is written of what you've done and selected for yourself? If not, then do something about it and change it today. And if you're okay with it, then just keep doing what you're doing. I've never wanted to be somebody I'm not. I've always been happy with everything God gave me. Never wanted braces to fix my teeth. Didn't want to go through the torture of the pain, could care less. I thought my teeth were straight enough. So when did humans become so superficial that it was all about the outside and not about the inside? How about you work on those insides? Work on your Holy Spirit that resides within you and let that radiate to the outside. Let it bloom. Weed yourself internally and then let yourself bloom. You'll be amazed at the difference in your life. Because when you get to that point, you'll be like me and others like me that are smiling constantly because we know where we're headed, we know where we've been, and we know we don't want to go back there. So why not keep towards the light? Look what he gave us. Look around. What a gift. And you know, the more people that I talk to from other countries, they look up to us. They look up to us. And the sweet sisters from England, they said, oh, the humidity here isn't bad at all, not compared to England. I said, what? So I'm talking to them about the temperature in England in the pool yesterday or the day before it. Anyway, and they said, oh, it gets up to 75, and the other sister says, 75? Where's this 75? I love that. Sisterly love. But anyway, they said, oh no, the humidity here is nothing. And that's what I kept trying to tell people in Indiana. Oh my gosh, the humidity, I could just stand it. I can stand the heat in the summer. Because I love the heat. I've always loved the heat. Always, always, always. So, work on your internal. Work on your Holy Spirit. And work it on blooming from the inside out. Get your root system in order with Him. And that's going to mean reading the love letter He left us. Just saying. And this one was $1.25 at the dollar store because inflation has hit the dollar store. $1.25? I don't know. And it's the King James Version. Now, I have always broke spines in my books. And I've already done that to this one. But you know what? I don't care. I'm calling it my seasoned Bible. I have written in this one notes. I've never written in another Bible before. I didn't feel I was allowed to or whatnot. And I don't know what it is about this one that it's okay to. Is maybe because it's falling apart? I don't know. I mean, look at it. I have beat the daylights out of it. That's how much I've used it. And the corners are already starting to, remember well, you won't know this, but when I was a little girl, I had a green Bible, and the corners, and I think because I kept doing this to it, they were all bent. They were, yeah. But anyway, oh, and it's red letter edition as well. So work on blooming your Holy Spirit. How's that for an Easter gift to yourself and to the world, to your significant other, to your children, family, friends, people you work with, people you go to church with, people that you do anything with? What do you got to lose? Nothing but a little bit of your time. So stay tuned. I've got more coming up. Love to all, bunches and bunches.